I'd encourage you to note that when that comes up. Um, and then here we talked about this in YouTube Live yesterday quite a bit. Um, this is the third part of the chapter where he's talking about why he's writing this book. If I'm trying here to describe the Little Prince, it's in order to not forget him. C'est afin de, in order to, so that. So, si j'essaie de le décrire, c'est afin de ne pas l'oublier. C'est triste d'oublier un ami. Tout le monde n'a pas eu un ami. Et je puis devenir comme les grandes personnes qui ne s'intéressent plus qu'aux chiffres. So if I'm trying here to describe the Little Prince, it's in order to not forget him. It's very sad to forget a friend. Not everybody has had a friend. Um, and again, we can come back to the module 3 that we looked at, where we looked at relationships and love and stuff. Un ami is a very tender thing. It's not un copain, it's not une connaissance, it's un ami. It's kind of a powerful relationship. So not everybody's had a friend. It's very sad to forget a friend. And furthermore, I can become, or I might become, like the grown-ups who are only interested in numbers, right? And so there's the narrator, on the one hand, there's a fear of forgetting the little prince, and that's why he's writing the story. But there's also a fear of becoming like grown-ups, or even for him, it sounds like maybe regressing into what he was like before he met the little prince, where he was a pilot. He had studied serious things like history and geography. Uh-huh. And so that kind of double fear of forgetting a friend and that kind of sadness, and then the fear of becoming like grown-ups is what really spurs the narrator to write this story. Um, and that's why I bought this box of colored pencils and crayons and colored pencils rather, and watercolors. It's hard. It's difficult to go back to drawing at my age, right? When we just done boa constrictors, 6 years old. Um, and then he kind of goes into this parentheses of, my drawings aren't great. Uh, um, and again, this may seem irrelevant, right? This may seem like fluff, but I would challenge you to wonder why he's making this parentheses. Um, and he kind of addresses this. He says, "Oh, I might mistake myself. I might be mistaken on some of the more important details, but you'll have to forgive me. Mais ça, il faudra me le pardonner. But you'll have to forgive me for those. My friend never gave explanations. Maybe he thought I was similar to him, but I unfortunately I don't know how to see sheep through boxes. Maybe I'm a little bit like the grown-ups. I must have gotten older." And so the chapter ends on this kind of almost melancholy note of like, I did my best with these drawings. I've tried to describe the little prince and I've tried to render him in these drawings, and they're not perfect. Um, so sorry about that, and you'll have to forgive me for those. And it seems that, maybe I've become more of a grown-up than I'd like to admit, right? And so there's kind of this sad note that it ends on. So I hope that answers some of your questions about this chapter, which is a very important chapter. The text is short, but each chapter is pretty rich. Um, yeah. All right. I hope you're enjoying the reading. I know it can be a challenge, especially with the passé simple. Again, I've been meaning to kind of give you a little presentation on the passé simple. Maybe I'll try to do that this weekend. But hopefully you're getting used to it and you're getting the gist. And these lectures help you kind of flesh out your understanding in a deeper way. Um, Finally, I wanted to remind you of an event that's happening on Saturday. A lot of you are seniors, and my heart really goes out to you that you're missing out on graduation. But fortunately, there's been this kind of initiative put together by LeBron James. He's organized this thing called Graduate Together, and if you just Google Graduate Together 2020, you'll be able to find it. I don't have a link or anything for you, There is a link in Canvas, of course, if you'd prefer, right? And there's a countdown on the website. I took this on Thursday morning. Um, and it's going to be a live stream, performances and speeches to really recognize y'all. And it's a national recognition, so it's not going to feel the same as a traditional graduation might. Um, and so, I, I I assume it won't be as satisfying as you'd hope, or the event that you'd hoped would happen, but it's a pretty unique opportunity. I think um, I look forward to watching this, to tuning in, um, and again, I really want you to know that your frustrations, your anger, your sadness is all totally justified. And this is a really painful situation, I think, for everybody, but especially for those of you who are graduating. And I want to make a space for that and let you know that I'm thinking of you, and I hope this event is a small step towards helping you feel a little bit of closure towards this end of your high school career. I wanted to also talk about the end of the semester. UW Green Bay nous demande de faire un travail de fin de semestre, même s'il ne s'agit pas d'un examen cumulatif et rigoureux. So UW Green Bay wants us to do a end of semester piece, kind of assessment, even if it's not a cumulative and kind of intense assessment. And so what I've decided to do is I'm going to ask you some questions about the Little Prince. So next week I'll kind of explain it a little bit in more detail. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. This is what's coming down the pike. And the gist, you'll respond in French to a few questions about the Little Prince. Okay, your reading of the Little Prince so far, right? We haven't finished it. We won't finish it. Um, if you want to continue reading The Little Prince, I would be happy to continue providing you with the text and little lecture kind of walkthroughs of it into the summer. That would be extra, right? Not through Canvas. I'll email it to you or something. Um, I'm happy to do that, but we won't finish it this semester. So I'll be asking you some questions. You'll record your answer in French and you'll submit it to Canvas. And so remember in class we practiced recording things on Canvas and submitting them. That worked out really well. I was really happy with that. So I'd love to do that for this. Um, and you'll have access to the questions to really prepare. So the questions will be about our reading of The Little Prince so far, and for me, I'm treating it roughly like a completion grade. And again, next week I'll talk in more detail about precisely what I'm looking for. I'll even show you the questions and I'll tell you how I'll be grading it. But it's mostly going to be graded for completion. Did you do the thing? Did you answer these questions about the Little Prince? But then also I'll ask you to kind of cover, okay, use the subjunctive at least twice, I think I asked for. Use the vocabulary of module 3, etc., etc. So there are going to be a couple things, not too many. These two are the first ones I came up with, and I think there'll be maybe one more. Um, just to kind of really get you a chance to practice as much as possible the stuff that we've learned this semester uh, in a kind of satisfactory way, all in one place. Again, I'll be considering it more of a completion grade. Did you use the subjunctive relatively correctly? Did you use the vocabulary? Did you answer the questions about Little Prince? Cool, you're good. It won't be as rigorous as it might be if we were in class. So again, I'll talk more about that next week. For Monday, please go ahead and do the reading. There's another reading of The Little Prince. He's going to be talking about Baobab, and participate in the discussions. So there's the Class Kick class code. There's a link on Canvas. Yeah, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Otherwise, au revoir.